Summer comes on strong, with temperatures in the high 90s Fahrenheit for weeks and no rain, setting the southeast region of the U.S. up for the most significant drought it's seen in many, many years. Obviously not good for farmers, in particular a koi farmer. The ground becomes hard and gray, and the pasture dries up to crunchy hay. The neighbor's poor shackled dog kicks up a dust cloud wherever he walks. Summer heat is dangerous for fish farmers. It takes a toll here at my farm early on. A failed well pump relay switch on a hot, muggy June night. Grow-out ponds are fragile systems with many, many organisms consuming oxygen. The largest of the organisms are often the ones to go. These kohakus were just 14 months old. They went in as one-year-olds in late spring. I lost a total of 18 koi in 2 ponds. A major loss and setback for me in Nisai production for this season. I only grow out the best of my best, so this was a major whack off the top of the pyramid of quality. I've learned over the years as a koi farmer to not dwell on losses though. I take the jab in the gut, note the reasons, and move on. On to this year's crop, which will be next year's Nisai. This is a first culling of an experimental Showa spawn. A male and female combination I've had a curiosity about. I do at least one of these experimental pairings every year to keep the potential of my breeding program moving forward. The knowledge I gain here and the additions to my genetic pool are invaluable to me. Seining a mud pond is just good fun. Seeing what critters have been living the good life off of my hard work, safe from birds and other predators. All the freeloaders with legs start bailing out. The friar gathered and hauled up to the culling shed and looked over. Out of the entire pond, these are the ones that were chosen. The Yamabuki Ogon crop is looking great. These are about 60 days old now and 4 to 6 inches. These will soon go through a second culling. They're single-colored koi, but they blossom just like Gosanke blossom. At this age, the skin, pigment, and sheen look thin and splotchy. As they grow, their genetic potential will show itself, though, with incredible shine and evenness of color. Beyond the pond here in the greenery is another excellent example of color. Camouflage. A fascinating subject. Watch the fly to the right. There's another frog just below this one. The hot, dry summer rolls on, and the culling continues. This is the second culling of kohakus. At this stage, they are around 80 days old and vary in size from 4 inches to 7 inches. At the second cull, there's still a lot of culling to do. It's impossible to gather every fish up from a mud pond in one culling. These Shiromuji are all white koi, Akamuji or Benigoi are all orange koi, and small pattern koi either slipped past the seine net, or were very small and swam through the netting, or buried themselves in the mud during the first culling. The second cull is a much more enjoyable way to spend a day than the first cull. There's not quite as much physical work, heavy lugging, and the numbers aren't so overwhelming. I can sit down and enjoy the fish more. The second culling is make or break though. At the end of this day, I'll know what I have from that pond, and I'll know if I have a good season going, or if I've wasted a lot of work, time, and money on a particular crop. This group looks excellent. Here's what I'll keep from this net. With the magic of a time machine, we can take a peek into the future and see how a few of these will look in the fall at harvest time. More freeloaders living the good life on my hard labor, safe from predators, under the netting, and well fed. Interesting, I don't find any of these in the large female ponds. At the lower part of this bowl we can see a throwback to the old Sensuke lineage, with the lighter persimmon beni. Some athletes in this bowl. Notice the look of the beni of this one in the upper left. This is basically a mixture of mucus and mud. The quality is there, and it's one I'll keep growing. I'm critical of my kohakus. With only 2 colors creating the art, the body has to be good, the quality of skin has to be very high, and the sharpness and evenness of color has to be top-notch. And the patterning has to speak to me. It needs to be interesting, pleasing to my eye. The balance and impression it leaves on the eye make the fish. Stiff criteria for such a seemingly simple koi. Speaking of time machines, I'm always looking into the future. What does this koi have to offer me in 4 years, in 8 years, or in 12 years? Longevity is true value in koi. This is what I have at the end of a long, tiring day. This is the golden bucket. When I look in that bucket, I see art and an enjoyable journey raising these to showpieces. Likely not the same thing this critter sees in that bucket. I shoo it off and it flies straight across the pasture over to another pond. Reminding me that I need to check the netting on a few of the ponds. And while I'm in, I'll check the water and check the fry too. A weekly chore. I walk this path every day, and this is the first time I've seen this wasp nest. Fortunately, I'm fast when I have to be, and only one got me. Tomorrow I'll take 2 steps to the right, and for the rest of the season. They win. In one of the first episodes of On the Farm, we looked at an old friend of mine who has hung out in this tree for years. I haven't seen much of him this summer. Maybe the heat keeps him inside the tree during the day. He did leave his mark, though, so I know he's here somewhere. The kids and their friends take advantage of the cold mud, while I continue with my culling chores. Today I'm doing the second culling on Kujaku and Harawaki. Though my main focus is on Gosaki, I do enjoy working with these metallics. Here's an example of a deformity, likely from an injury really early in the fry stage. A day later, and I'm working on the third cull of another Showa pond. The first cull was done at 3 days old. There are 3 distinctly different types of sumi in this bowl. Here are some Hiatsuris and Shiroatsuris from the same parent set. Not fish I focus on, but we have managed a couple of best in varieties over the years. The hot, dry summer rolls on, and the fry continue to grow. You can see why the great blue herons are so attracted to this place. All the splashing of colors can likely be seen from outer space. Today I pull the Yamabuki Ogon pond up to take another look. As I know I've mentioned before, Yamabuki Ogon is one of my favorite koi types, and a variety that I put a lot of energy and effort into. A good Yamabuki Ogon is an amazing sight. Like Kohaku, simple at first glance, but so complex when you really dig in. The characteristics that separate an average one from a spectacular one are subtle, and the differences are hard for most to see. Obviously, the body shape, finnage, and face shape are critical. The quality of skin and the metallic luster are critical. The presence of clean, well-aligned scales and the presence of fukurin, critical. Evenness of color, whether light lemon cream or richer looking gold. And for the long haul, a fish that can get large and hold a strong metallic shine at a large size. The glitter we see on the heads of these tells us that the metallic sheen is strong and will stretch with the koi's growth. What do you notice here? A short pec fin. All four of these have deformities. Difficult to see from the top, but this one's mouth has a twist. This is easier to see from the bottom. This will only become more pronounced as the koi grows. Here's another example that's more obvious from the top. Here, one side of the face is obviously flatter than the other. More freeloaders. These critters do a lot of damage to mud ponds with their tunneling, producing leaks. It's now early August, 96 degrees, and we haven't had a drop of rain here since May. The drought conditions force me to make a decision on my water supply. If my well water runs out, I'm up the creek, without a paddle and without any water. So I make the decision to shut down a few of the mud ponds and conserve that water. As a slap in the face, it begins raining as soon as I shut the ponds down. This shower only lasts a few minutes though and makes no impact at all. The short rain brings out another interesting frog. When I look at this little fellow, I can't help but consider camouflage again, and more specifically, mimicry. I'm not sure if this look is coincidence or not, but I'm sure it doesn't hurt to look like a copperhead. Members of the Triad Koi and Water Garden Society came out and spent a Saturday with me. These sorts of visits are always great fun.
Yes, the water's not irritating.
Can, the Yamabuki Ogon, is an incredibly sociable and charismatic koi. He was up greeting everyone and showing his hospitality. He's 12 years old now. The group picked out some baby kohakus for a club grow-out challenge.
Oh, we have those in the backyard. Yeah, what would be your gamble? The little tiny guy. But I'm usually wrong. I still like that one.
Even if you pay check this, see this poncho right there, look at the couch right here. As compared to some of the others.
We looked at a few different grades or price ranges, but all the same age and from the same parent set.
Wow. Look at the difference. This one comes towards us. On the white on that side.
We also pulled up a group of metallics to play with.
Is, you just want to pick him up.
It'd be nice.
How big do they have to be before they're safe in the forest?
Bigger than their mouth.
Bigger than that. I remember that day.
Toads don't
We lost a koi to a bee.
This is how a few hours of each day are spent: walking the property, feeding the fish, and just observing. It's mid-September now, and time to start actually harvesting a few ponds and bringing some koi up to the barn area for my fall harvest sale. This is a retention pond where I store extra water, and a place I move some koi from the summer's culls to spread them out for safekeeping. Or if I find something interesting in culling and just want to see how it develops, it may go in here for the summer. These few larger koi were born last year and managed to hide from the seine nets and draining of the pond during harvest last fall. and have lived in here over the winter, through the cold, past the predators, and nearly no water until the pond was refilled in spring. Not a bad Matsuba. Here are a few of the Yamabuki ogons from the retaining pond harvest. The Matsuba ogon in here is from a different parent set. I'm strict about the origins of my koi, and I won't keep any Yamabukis from any other metallic parent sets, such as the parents of this Matsuba. I insist on keeping all of my lines pure, so every spawn is documented, and the pond the fry go into is documented. A Showa fry pond is pulled, along with some more metallics, and then we move on to kohakus. My friend Chuck makes the trip back down to help me with this pond. This is the same group of kohakus we looked at earlier at their second culling. I put about 12 Showa fry into this pond after that culling also for safekeeping. You'll see a few of them in the seine net. This is an excellent day. I'm seeing just what I want to see from this pond. Good growth and very high quality.
Are you seeing it there or what? Yeah, where'd he go? See it? Oh, yeah.
The kohakus are packed into bags and hauled up to the barn for closer evaluation. A large percentage of these will go back out to the pond to continue growing until December. You may remember some of these from the video earlier of the second culling. Notice the bodies, the head shapes, and the finnage, and the soft translucency of the skin, then the sharpness of the pattern edging, and the thickness and evenness of the beni. The reward after another long, hot, hard day is having a few very cold beers with a good friend. And just watching these 5-month-old kohakus swim by. The heat and the drought continue, so the boys and I pack up and head to the mountains for some cool fun.